Hi, it's Xavier and welcome to another edition of my bonsai calendar. If you want to know all you need to know about Chinese elm, whether it be indoor or outdoor, then I'm going to give you all the key dates and all the key stuff you should be doing. If this interests you, hang around. Well, let's be honest, everyone must have owned a Chinese elm almost at some point in their bonsai hobby life. I certainly did, and certainly it's one of the first ones I killed. I did it to death, so to speak. And hopefully today you're going to find out just a few reasons why I managed to kill my first Chinese elm. Here I've actually got a Chinese elm cutting, and this is what I love most about Chinese elm. Any pruning you do, chuck them in some soil and they propagate so brilliantly, dare I say the term, like rabbits.
White wabbit. White wabbit?
They're that easy. I don't put covers or humidity over them. I literally just have pots every time I do Chinese elm cuttings. Put them, and my strike rate, depending on different times, anywhere up to 80%. Those of you who've watched some of my earlier videos, you'll know I've got hundreds of Chinese elm cuttings at various ages. And this one is one that I actually did a root on rock project. So there's a big rock down there. Hopefully we're going to see some good stuff from this over the coming years. So yeah, propagation wise, absolutely no problem with doing cuttings. I did them spring, summer, and also you can do hardwood cuttings on them. Definitely I've seen Yella of Growing Bonsai, and he's had a lot of success. Big wrist-sized trunks and stuff like that. From what I understand, those sort of size really do produce roots really quite easily. And air layers, yep, brilliant for propagation for air layers as well. Hey, we just skipped from my normal order and went straight in for cuttings, because that is my #1 takeaway for Chinese elm. If you want to be getting more and more stock as quickly as possible, or even if you want to be looking at selling them, Chinese elm are very popular, cost nothing, easy, very effective, very efficient. Chinese elm, deciduous, certainly if you take it outside where I keep all my Chinese elm, but apart from that, very hardy, very frost hardy as well. If it's actually in the ground, it can go down to some really quite cold temperatures, I think anywhere down to -20 Fahrenheit. So it's very, very hardy, despite some of the issues that many of us have encountered over the last couple of years. This one, you've seen it from my top 5. Again, this was a cutting, put on a rock, responded very, very well. But as I've indicated, I keep all of mine outside. Early days I had them indoors, and I found them really, really difficult to deal with. If you want them indoors, then you've got to find a place that's cool, well lit, but not getting the baking sun on it, draft free, so it's got a very, very stable sort of micro environment, and definitely not sitting over a radiator. Watering wise, if it's indoors, you need to keep an eye on the soil. Just keep your finger, have a little poke around down there. The surface may appear dry, but beneath it may actually still be damp. And I found that what I used to do is I'd get the old dishwashing basin, fill it up with water up to about there, and then I just drop the tree until all the bubbles came out, and then I drain it on the dishwashing drainer. If you are keeping it indoors, then my strongest suggestion is that come sort of May time, when we're starting to get the nice warmer temperatures, get it outside for 2-3 months and let it get a bit of vigorous outdoor growth, a bit like when you go on a summer holiday to Marbella or Greece or Florida or wherever.
We'll not permit them to dream away their summer holidays.
We all like to get the sun, and these are no different. And then you can always look at bringing it back in those early part of autumn to get it acclimatised back to the indoor weather. Outdoors they can survive, I think it says zone 6, so -10 Fahrenheit. The thing to watch with these and with many of our potted trees is it's the wind chill factor that can be the issue. Certainly if you've got highly ramified stuff, then you're going to be getting some branch dieback. All I'll say on that is that they're so vigorous that they recover from any dieback pretty quickly anyway. Repot wise, these, again, more cuttings. I've combined these in a sort of fusion to try and get a triple trunk. And repot is in the springtime, just before the buds start bursting. If they've still got the leaves on them, same time still, treat it like any of the other spring repots. With these ones, I do tend to just give them a little bit of organic mix. Used to be a 50-50 organic inorganic. These days I'm probably going 80% inorganic with just 20% of whether it be a pine or just a garden centre filler soil. Equally, they'll do just as well in a fully inorganic mix. I think it's more because I've got so many Chinese elm and they're not yet in that sort of highly ramified stage, so I can be less concerned about the soil. They like a free draining soil, but you also don't want the roots drying out, so watch out for those summer suns. They are extremely vigorous in terms of root growth, and because of that I will often check anything smaller than this every year. Any of my Mame ones get repotted every year, and anything even this size you've got to be careful. I've had a couple that I got caught out with where I went for a 3rd year repot. Chinese elm a little less happy to sit with lots of roots in the pot, and you'll see it because you'll stop getting any growth and it becomes a little bit poor eating. Pruning, as soon as you start seeing that growth extending to 6 to 8 leaf pairs, then I cut back to 2, maybe 3. There's a suggestion that that first leaf that comes out of a shoot hasn't got an active bud behind it. Truthfully, I haven't noticed any issues when I go back to 2. So it's directional pruning. Have a look where you want the bud to come out from, prune to that point. All I say, if it's looking a bit unhealthy or a little bit struggling, and often you'll get this with the indoors, be wary about pruning. Sometimes it's better just to let the shoots continue to go out until you're absolutely certain it's healthy. Now, I've done quite large branches, and I'll talk about large, if we put it as a reference, something like this, quite happily midsummer, I'll take a big branch cutting, put it in the soil, and it's normally going to propagate quite well. So, you know, never ever give up on anything cutting wise if you're looking to get more Chinese elm. Say this is one of my cuttings, it's on a root on rock, and in fact, if you want to see how this started, there's a playlist which will appear at the end in the description, or indeed there's probably a card up here. This is going to be one of the ones we're going to be following along quite a bit in this channel. But these are probably the most forgiving of all of the species that I've ever encountered for bonsai work. And one of the nicest things about Chinese elm is really it's a clip and grow master. It is. You get such growth everywhere. You get so many buds coming from lots of different places that you can selectively prune where exactly you want stuff to grow. I do wire them as well. Certainly some of the longer branch ones where I'm just trying to get a little bit of movement. Normally it's stuff that I've either let go for a few years and I've got to try and get a basic structure or shape. I don't want to go all the way back, so I'll use a bit of wire then. And wiring, to be fair, I'll wire any time from the growing season, sort of probably May onwards, right through to the autumn time. But yeah, I think I'd say on this one, if you can avoid wiring, probably best to do so. They are the ones that are liable to get caught out with wire bite because of how vigorous they are, and even on this little one here, there's wire bite scars here, and yeah, it'll grow out, and if you've got the cork bark variety, you're not going to notice it. But in terms of sort of aesthetics, anyone want to try and spell that for me?
Aesthetic input, sculpture, modern art.
These are probably the ones that you can avoid the wire on. For Chinese elm, that's probably all there is to it. I'll reiterate, they are the most easiest of the species, I think, to manage and deal with if you keep them outside. I think the minute you bring them inside, then you start taking on a whole lot of different care issues, lighting issues, draft issues, and stuff that not difficult but can present challenge. And the first of the challenges you'll find is if you take it indoors, it will drop its leaves. They are very, very fussy about drafts or anything like that. So it's not something you should worry about, but the most common question I'll get is that my Chinese elm's dropped all its leaves, is it dying? And the truth is, no, it's deciduous, it's dropped them because it's not happy that you've moved it, and it definitely doesn't need a repot, it doesn't need to be cut, wired, fed, overwatered, or any of those things, which is what I did, which will end up just spiralling it closer to death. This one again, my carving project, still no idea. I'm probably going to cut all this right back down. I got some good ideas from Andrew about what to do with this, and we may see that happening in the spring. So that's my little summary of Chinese elm. Hopefully you've got something from it, and definitely if there's anything you've picked up on that I haven't mentioned or you think's wrong, please whack it down in the comments. That's the whole idea of doing these little sort of quick species guide, is to try and pool the knowledge together. People read comments, so get anything in there that you think might be inaccurate or might help other people. If you like this, big thumbs up. If you want to see more, hit notifications, bell notifications, ding ding, all that sort of palaver. And definitely, if you haven't subscribed yet and you're enjoying this content, then please subscribe. If you think anyone else has got a Chinese Elm might benefit from this, then share it. Oh, and with Chinese Elm, they do give off the appearance of being dead sometimes when they've dropped their leaves. And the easiest way to remedy that, do the scratch test. We've all heard about it. Scratch the bark, see if it's still green. If there's green in there, then literally all you do, put it into a bucket full of water, let it sink, let it settle for sort of 5 minutes or so until it's fully soaked. Drain it out, let it dry, and just do that every sort of 3 to 4 days, and you'll probably find you'll see it come back nicely. Don't fertilise it, don't repot it, and don't try and do any cutting or anything. Just put it in a nice cool spot, leave it alone. So all I can say from there is thanks again, all the best, happy bonsai, and God bless. Cheers.